Good morning and welcome to Maggie's Jungle Golf. I want to start off with telling you just a little bit about the establishment of Maggie's Jungle Golf and how Maggie's came about. In 1988, Tony and Shirley Edwards, that have lived here in Marshall County for many years, of course they both have passed away now, they loved miniature golf, and they had a niece named Maggie that loved miniature golf as well. And Maggie would want Tony and Shirley to take her many places to play miniature golf. And Ma and Pa, which I call them Ma and Pa, they never liked to fly, so they drove everywhere they went. But they would take Maggie as a young girl, and they would go to all these different miniature golf courses. And Maggie said, I have a great idea. Why don't you all build me my own golf course? So Tony and Shirley Edwards never had any children, and they loved their nieces and nephews and their great nieces and nephews. And they said, that sounds like a great idea. So the property here was available for sale. So Tony Edwards bought the property. He and Shirley worked hard that whole entire summer, winter. 1988 was a big year for them. They started working hard, getting things built, and they built an 18-hole miniature golf course with a jungle theme, and they named it Maggie's Jungle Golf after Maggie. So that's basically how Maggie's Jungle Golf came along. Was Maggie loved miniature golf, and Tony and Shirley loved it, and they decided to build Maggie's Jungle Golf. So after they had been here at Maggie's several years, they came up with an idea to do the live animal nature trail. And so they decided to start cutting roads, just kind of playing with it back here on the property, and they came up with Maggie's Jungle Run. So not only is it an 18-hole miniature golf course with the jungle theme, they built the Jungle Run with the live animals. Maggie's is family owned and operated. When Ma and Pa sold it to us in 2000. They just basically wanted to hand it off and pass it off to a family. My mother, Janice Cash, was the one that ran it for Tony and Shirley when they worked. Shirley was a beautician. She worked in the hair business. Tony worked at B.F. Goodrich. And my mom ran just the miniature golf course by herself. And Mom and Dad stepped up when Michael and I and my mother-in-law and father-in-law bought it. Mom and Dad stepped up, and Dad retired. It was time for him to get out, and he retired, and he was here with us at Maggie's. And Mom just stayed here till we practically had to blow her off the hill with dynamite, because she loves Maggie's Jungle Golf. But Mom's in bad health, Dad's not in the best of health anymore. And so that's basically, we're family owned and operated. And when Tony and Shirley sold it to us, they knew that we would do Maggie's Jungle Golf to the best of our ability, and that's what we've done. Ahab the camel that passed away 2 weeks ago today, he had been here at Maggie's Jungle Golf probably around, I'm gonna say 30 years. Ahab was actually 35. In camel years, that's 86 years. So he lived a wonderful life here at Maggie's Jungle Golf. Everything here at Maggie's Jungle Golf is considered our family. They are well taken care of by Mayfield Animal Hospital in Mayfield. Chad Badgett, we give him a lot of credit for taking care of all of our animals here at Maggie's Jungle Golf. And Ahab was getting quite a bit of age on him. And we had people say, is he sick? Is something wrong? We've all laughed and said after COVID, it was stressed to us so many times that to social distance, we laughed and said, well, Ahab just got tired of hearing it, so he wanted to stay in the barn. So he was gonna social distance, but that's not true. So anyway, he loved the people. And they asked, had he been sick? Was he getting sick? Well, guys, we all know over time, even with ourselves, we're all gonna get sick, and with life comes death. Michael was the one that had came down the night before, and Ahab was down, and he called me and said, you need to get down here. Ahab's down, and you need to come. Well, when I got down there, we knew he had had a stroke. It was completely obvious. We knew he'd had a stroke, so we called Chad. It was 1:30 in the morning. It was an emergency vet on call. Like I say, as far as pressing or pushing religion on anybody, I would never want to do that. But we are a praying family. We love the Lord. We're God-fearing, God-loving. And when I walk out of the house each morning, I just say, okay, Lord, I may not be in the best of mood, but I just want you to be my voice, be my feet, be my mind, be my ears. Just let me spread the love that you've given to all of us. And I feel like that's what Maggie's is. And it goes back to Ahab. He knew how much love we had for him, and he knew we loved him so much. And Michael's dad that runs the jungle run, that takes care of them as well, he came that morning at 2:30, and Ahab literally heard Papa's truck coming down the jungle run. And that camel, just hearing that Papa was coming to him at his time of death, he let out a bellow and a cry, and he knew that Papa was coming to be there with him. And we prayed over him, and we told him his job was done. He had done the most wonderful job here at Maggie's Jungle Golf. And that morning about 6:55, we had one final word of prayer. I got on top of him. We loved on him. Michael loved on him. Papa loved on him. And at 6:55, tears literally were coming out of that camel's eyes. His eyes were wet underneath, and he let out a big bellow cry, and that was it. He didn't want to leave Maggie's. And little did I know just what the job that he's done here at Maggie's. We have 3 autistic families that I could call by name that come 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, and their children find peace with these animals. And if you are an animal lover, I think anybody knows just what peace we can find with animals. And they bring their children. So we've had so many families reach out and say, we're so sorry. We actually had people bringing flowers, and they were wanting to place it down in the jungle run. But unfortunately, the goats, they would eat them. So we had the house with flowers, and we greatly appreciate that so much. Camel, somebody brought a camel, a beautiful camel. We still don't know who that is. Papa didn't catch their name, but it's just been awesome. But back to all the animals and just how it all comes about and how it all comes into play. We've actually had people to come in with anxiety. I had a girl to reach out to me on Facebook, and she said that she's not a person that can get in crowds, and she doesn't go shopping, and she doesn't get out, but she can come here and walk this jungle run or get a golf cart, and she said she can literally find peace. So anyway, all of our animals in the jungle run, we do make sure that everything's well taken care of. Jeff Beard, a guy from Morganfield, Kentucky, is who we buy from, and that's who we sell to majority of the time. Now, we do sell some of our goats to like local families that have farms. We do make sure that everything we do sell to somebody is not going to a sale to be ate, or we make sure they have a good farm with a good home. And Jeff Beard, the guy that we deal with, he's from Morganfield, Kentucky, and we had lost our ostrich back in May, Oliver the ostrich. He was just wonderful here at Maggie's Jungle Golf, and we missed him so bad, and we knew for the jungle run to continue, for people to come to, we had to replace animals, and it's hard. It's hard to replace these type of animals. So we got in contact with Jeff, and we told him, you know, hey, listen, Oliver's passed. If you would just kind of be on the lookout for a new ostrich. We need to replace, you know, something else down there, which he'll never be replaced. And that's what I say with anything or anybody. When someone passes, they're not being replaced, yet you just want that love and you want that companionship. So we had put on Facebook, due to an unforeseen circumstances, we were going to be closed 2 weeks ago Friday, And Jeff Beard, the guy that we deal with from Morganfield, Kentucky, my husband had called him early that morning, and I had finally posted on Facebook that Ahab had passed. And it wasn't 3 hours later, and Jeff calls and he said, well, are y'all gonna be home around 7:30 tonight? And we were like, yeah. And he was like, you're not gonna believe it, but I actually had found you guys an ostrich, and my girls have a 10-month-old baby camel here on our farm in Morganfield, Kentucky, and they want me to load Carl up and bring Carl to you all, and they want you guys to buy Carl and have Carl there. And if they decide they want him for the winter, we're gonna haul him back to Morganfield and let him get all the love he needs and that type of thing. But they said they wanted him to come here because they knew that he would have plenty of company, that he would be loved on, he would be taken care of. So I've had a lot of people say, oh, how did you find a camel within 12 hours? Well, back to religion, back to God. Here we go, I'm pushing, you know, this is God. You do not find a camel within 6 hours of one passing. It's just unheard of. An ostrich isn't that easy to come by, but it had came into play that week. So I've told everybody that God, in my opinion, he's a way maker, he's a miracle worker, he's a promise keeper, he's a light in the darkness. And guys, God's all around this place. God is here, he's all around this place, and I give God the glory for Carl coming and it all happening like it happened, and he's been a wonderful asset. Now, a lot of people, they're like, he's got some learning to do. Yes, he does, but with any animal, they may be a little standoff, you know, until they get to know you. But that's basically the story behind Ahab the camel and how it all went down. Okay, so that's enough of my jibber jabber talking. Let's hop in the golf cart, take off down to the jungle run, and let's see the animals. Of course, everybody that calls and asks questions about Maggie's Jungle Golf, they want to know about how old you have to be to drive a golf cart. And we do ask that the driver, of course, be 16 years of age with a valid driver's license. And the golf carts will hold 2 adults, 3 small kids for $10. They can walk the trail. There's a lot of people that come just and want to walk. And it's $2 per person to walk through the trail. Of course, we've got some trees that have fell due to the storms that have came through, but until we get close, we're gonna have to just wait till we can get down here and get them out. This first bridge, you know, it's always been known for the troll bridge. And whenever the field trip groups come in, Daddy used to walk through and he would tell them that the trolls were under the bridge, and if anybody got out of line, they may turn around and find a troll behind them. And of course, with Dad being, you know, not as well as he used to be, he can't do that anymore, but there's a lot of the teachers that still come and they laugh and say every time they walk the jungle run, they think of Jimmy Cash with his troll stories. And there's the star. He's not really the star. Ahab will always be the star. I tell him he's just got big, big shoes to fill. And if you'll look, Denise, over in this area behind the jungle run there, where that dirt area is, that's where we buried Ahab. So he's actually buried there in his pen. Good morning, Carl. He's 10 months old. And like I say, Jeff, the guy that we buy from, he had gotten this camel, and his girls just fell in love with them. Well, one of his girls is in North Carolina, and then the other girl's like 14. And he said, you know, they grew up with animals, and when this came available, he brought it home, and they had just been loving on him. And actually, when Jeff got here with Carl, Rhett and Ridley were here, and I was real leery of letting Rhett get around him, and Jeff had the halter on him, and I said, come on, Rhett, come on, Ridley, get back. And he was like, no, they're fine, they're fine. And so they put a halter on him in the parking lot, and they just let him from the parking lot down to the pen. And he was so gentle. He let Rhett and Ridley just pet on him and love on him. And of course, he's a male, and with him being so young, he will have to be fixed. But seems like a great temperament. You know, he just seems like he's got a great attitude. Hi, buddy. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, darling angel. It's amazing to me at how many people come, Denise, that are like from Chicago and big cities that do not see this. I think we just don't realize how blessed. I love these bridges. I think we don't realize how blessed we are just to have such a calm community with the noises and the sounds of nature around you. Of course, as you come along here, and I've got a sign up at Maggie's at the golf course that says beware of Bigfoot, and we've got Bigfoot here in the woods, and he's a big excitement for the jungle run. A lot of people come just to see the Bigfoot. Of course, this land that's out in behind where Bigfoot is, that's the property that we own, that we open the fences at night for the horses and the bull and some of the emu and the donkeys. They all can go out behind and go out on that acreage behind, and that way they can get out and have more room at night. But we have those industrial fans down here in the barn, so they don't usually go too awfully far. Of course, this is Sleepy Hollow. Now that I've got grandbabies and Julie and Jana have their kids, we've always laughed and said this is where the Headless Horseman hangs out. Of course, the kids will scream and yell, and that's kind of fun. Now down here, we've got the sheep, and it's Sugar and Luna. This is an emu. An emu, yes. We've got several of those. We've got one that stays on the land out there. His name's Kevin. And then this one here is Earl and Ernie. And this is Sugar, and she actually came from over at Sugar Creek, where the flower farm is, Sugar Creek. Stephanie Guerrier is where she came from. And then Luna, the black and white, she actually came from a family, her family, the man had a stroke, and they could no longer take care of everything they had due to him being sick, and then the wife, they couldn't take care of everything. So Luna found her a new home with us, didn't she, Luna? Yeah, she sure did. And then over, of course, this is Sponge Bull. That's the Scottish Highlander, and he's been here for many years with us. He actually decided one morning that he was going to get out and take a stroll down 641. And I got a phone call and asked, did we have a bull? I said, yes, we sure do. And he was in the middle of 641 and had stopped traffic. So thank you to the Marshall County Sheriff's Department for helping me stop traffic. And of course, Joshua Key, Jana's boy, and then one of his friends, Joey Willett, they came, and he rounded him up, and across the street down the Thorns, Barbara and Charlie Thorne, he came and helped us, and we ran him into his barn across the street, and we took the horse trailer and loaded him up and brought him back across the street. So just the fun of having a farm, you never know, but thank goodness that was the last time and only time that he's ever got out, because it was cold, and when Josh got here, he breathed out his nose real hard, kind of like a commercial, you see, and smoke blew everywhere. Josh said, Peachy, he is mad. I said, yeah, he is mad. So Of course, the donkeys, these are all females. We have had to move little Jack over across the fence, and then we've gotten rid of a few of our males just for the mere fact we do our best not to do a lot of inbreeding here at Maggie's. Of course, another one of the attractions here at Maggie's Jungle Golf that a lot of people want to come and see is the Zorse, or Zoni. It's a half zebra, half pony. Breeze is a wild girl. She loves to run free, go full throttle, and she's ran into a tree branch and she's lost the sight in one eye where she hit a branch, but she's a real big attraction here. A lot of people want to come and see her. And there's Jeff, the ostrich. The turkeys, of course. And the brown turkey there, he actually is a turkey that was given to us also. He came in with Luna when she came. His people, like I say, the man had a stroke, and so he's here. Now, the white turkey, he has been here for many, many years, and he loves to just rattle them feathers and carry on. But Jeff the ostrich, he's a pretty thing. And that was the thing whenever Oliver passed. Of course, Michael's dad, Charles, came down, and there's so many feather dusters, you know, that are made with ostrich feathers. And so we got several of the feathers out of Oliver, and I've got them at the house, and it's just, they're a beautiful, beautiful animal. But it's just so neat. Like the squirrels and the birds that come down through here, and it's just amazing how they know that this is a safe haven. It's just a safe place for them. There's the white peacock, Denise. I don't know, can you see? Now is the time of year where the peacocks start losing their feathers. The month of July is when they start falling out. And of course, it looks like he's lost the majority of his tail feathers. And if you look around, like you can see here by the fence, they're losing them there. And we usually just leave them lay, because people will come in here later and they love to find a peacock feather. So a lot of people wait and come in July because they know that's when the peacock feathers start to fall. And of course, I think too, we are tagged as being a petting zoo. And in all honesty, we're not a petting zoo because, number one, we don't open the pens for anybody to go in and pet the animals. We ask people to toss the food over the fence or put it in the feeding bowls. Now, the jungle run is about a mile long. Of course, it's a wonderful walk when it's cooler. Up and downhill, you get a lot of exercise. And you see these green tree limbs that have been thrown out. The goats actually love greens, so we put that out for them and they'll eat those. But okay, so the field trips. There's a lot of kids that don't get the opportunity in the summer to come to Maggie's because both parents work, and when COVID came, it was just sad because you knew a lot of the kids that would normally get to come with school groups didn't get that opportunity because they weren't allowing the students to come, which I totally understand. But when you have a child come to you before they load the bus and squeeze you and hug you and say, "Oh, Maggie, this has been the best day of my life," to me, money can't touch that, you know? I mean, it's awesome, and I love to see people smile and just enjoy being here. And that's the thing with kids that come on field trips. They just love to come, and I'm thankful for the school groups that do come and bring the kids, because if it wasn't for the schools coming, they wouldn't get that opportunity. And also, I have a lot of people ask about a discount. Do we give discounts? And yes, we do give discounts. You do have to have a tax-exempt number, be a nonprofit organization type group. And yes, we do give a discount for the nonprofit organizations. And I can't say enough about the churches that support Maggie's Jungle Golf. During COVID, we met lots and lots of people from Illinois when the state of Illinois was closed down. A lot of people would travel across the state line. The day that Ahab passed, right here where you're filming, right across this fence row here, we have 3 Pyrenees, and then of course all these goats and the ducks and everything hangs out on this side. And then Ahab, of course, was over across the street from them. And I'm not even kidding you, when we came down here that morning, where normally you hear these sounds that you're hearing behind us, it was just quiet. And those animals were everyone lined up at that fence row, and they were looking over toward this direction. It was just like they were showing, you know, paying their respects to, but they've all been right here together. And so it's just awesome. And I've learned a lot in the last 2 weeks. I've learned a whole lot with just knowing that sometimes I think animals have more sense about them than people. I sure hope you all enjoyed the ride this morning through the Animal Nature Trail here at Maggie's Jungle Golf. We thank you so much. Denise, thank you so much for coming. Guys, we encourage you all to come on out and see us at Maggie's Jungle Golf and the Jungle Run. We will actually be open now until August the 13th. On that Sunday will be our last day, 7 days a week. However, we will be open on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We will be open until October the 8th. We will be open for fall break, weather permitting. So I encourage you all to come on out and see Carl the camel, Jeff the ostrich, and all the other animals. We appreciate and love you all. You're the best. God first, family second, and I've always said it's God that gives us the ability to be here. God gives us the health to be here, but it's you, the customer, that keeps Maggie's Jungle Golf running. 34 years in business, we hope to have another 34.